Good evening, everybody. System Chalk here with another episode of the Apostle Obsonate playthrough as Ike Upscribe. We've been kind of going through we finished the Evening Isles, and we've been sort of dealing with a couple of the side effects of our notorious reputation. As you can see, most of that is gone now, so good news for us. But it has come at the consequence of tentative evidence very likely turning into damning evidence. And of course, it's very unlikely that this is going to be something that will threaten us, but we are actually getting quite short on disciples. So for instance, if Rose were to be imprisoned, we'd probably find ourselves in a situation where we simply don't have any real way of kind of building up that edge without summons. No, in fairness, we haven't really been using edge all that much, but just kind of that's going to be one of the big things that we're dealing with. The other thing that's worth remembering is that we haven't exactly stalled out, but we're at the end of the texts that we took from the expeditions. We don't have any Vagabond's maps, and so we're not going to be able to find any new expeditions to go on, for now at least. And so part of the goal is going to be to take some more trips to the Mansus where I can, and then the other factor is probably going to be just getting ourselves into a position where, one, we can sort of afford to do do all of the work. We do have difficulty at Glover and Glover again because of the notoriety that came up. But essentially we're going to try and get back on track. And then we do actually have a number of components for the Vitulation. So it may be we want to actually start that. We want to start that as well. Because I'll be honest, I don't 100% remember all of the components for it. There might be one piece that we're missing, but I could also be wrong on that. So, and of course, the Vitulation is our ultimate goal. So, let's just take a look at where we're at. Dread on the table. We have a Season of Ardors coming up next, though, so if we want to get rid of that, we can do so manually with our contentment. We are likely going to see damning evidence, and so either, if I feel an emergency's come up, we'll send one of the Moth Followers, otherwise we may want to summon a Callagine. We are doing commissions, which is good. Fulfilling for Madame Bichet. We are studying the histories. Right, yes, I remember why we're doing this. And we're healing up because we just... Well, not just, but we managed to deal with the blood. Okay. I think I know roughly how I want to handle this. I don't really think I have anything for the Explore verb right now. I don't really need to sell any of my Iron Spintrea. So let's carry on. Alright, I've received the currency of the secret world, and my patron has let tantalizing information slip. So there's some erudition. Again, that'll be something that's helpful if we upgrade, or if we want to or need to upgrade lore, which of course we want to. Nope, not Sulochana, but... Oh, hang on. We've already got a commission from Dr. Adim, that's why we're doing that. I think I'm going to save the talk verb for the commissions. If I know that I've got a notoriety on the table, then I'll definitely send Clovette to clean it up. But I forgot, are we... Oh, right, it's healing. Alright, finish the manuscript, so... Sorry, it's not the Vagabond's maps that we need, it's the next level. Port Noon anecdote. And I need to be careful about this delightful blood, although I suppose in this particular case I might be able to afford... I think I might be able to let it expire on its own just because I'm going to be able to combine it with the contentment to get rid of it. So let's turn things in with Dr. Adim. And we still need to wait a little while to resolve the... I think I'll paint my content. Does that make sense to paint my contentment? Let's do a Rhaenyra painting instead. If this ever reaches trial, I will be in serious danger. Even if this hunter is disposed of, another may find their notes. Okay, so we definitely want to get rid of the damning evidence. In fact, one thing I can do, let's send out a pawn to maybe see if we can find a moth, sort of a moth henchman to do the job. Talking wise, it is a really tricky, it's a tricky business, the damning evidence, because if we know it's coming up, doing the talk is a little too late. And the other challenge that I have is I am trying to earn some money on the board of Glover and Glover, so if I fail, there's going to be some consequences. So you know what? I think what I'll do, I'm going to send Sylvia to clear it out. It's not great, so my scheme will most likely succeed. There is always a chance that something will go awry. It's mostly because I've got the talk verb available. So this is definitely one of my riskier moves here, but... Alright, we will pay up. Yeah, you know, we can pay up. Okay, Street Stage by Moonlight. Let's send the pawn again. So again, I'm fine with this expiring because I know I'm going to have contentment to deal with it. This is not a good enough hireling for it to be worth it. The sick room grows close and stale. Time to get up. So we'll spike that dread. It's also possible we will need this dread for whatever fascination might come as a result of this. So my recent work has drawn attention. Something should sell. Okay, we did get rid of one of the staleness, so good news there. And again, the preference at this point would be to try and pursue Glover and Glover, but in this case, I'm actually going to do another painting. And this time we will paint my... Well, I've already got a contentment, so mood paste about my contentment. Oop. So we needed a knowledge challenge. I'm glad I woke up just at the last second there. I await word. And it's a season of ambitions coming up next. That's good because we'll have blood for the next round. And I'll skip the paying for the paints. My minion has returned. The evidence has been destroyed and I am a little safer. So this is good in two regards. One, Sylvia didn't get hurt. We've actually, Old Unhappy Far Off Things isn't the worst consequence because we'll just be able to paint away the restlessness. So what I'm going to wind up doing for the next little while, we've got improvements towards the... So if you kind of think of this as assembly lines, which is such a non-culty way of thinking about things, I've got a few secret histories that I can sort of move up the chain as far as upgrades are concerned. In addition, I've got a bit of a pattern that I can do now of doing high-paying work at Glover and Glover, and then do a commission in between. And so I'm going to be building up my funds while also getting the Glimmering and Erudition, which is going to feed into my studies. Explore is more or less open for me. And then Dream, of course, because I'm going to be earning the Spintrea through my research efforts. I'm going to be able to keep repairing the 4 different mirrors that I'll be able to access the Mantis with. So once I get all my my mood stuff dealt with, we're going to be in a very good place as far as what we need is concerned. Of course, this ties into what I think one of the big themes of the game is, which is that especially as a player, once you get familiar with the game, it is actually quite easy. And I think this is maybe sometimes where people say that this game is a bit grindy. It's important to remember, a little bit like life, you can run into these situations where you are not necessarily happy, but you're in a type of comfort which makes it very hard to move out of that rut. Sometimes you can even wind up into that situation without realizing it. And I don't think that's unintentional. Like, I think it's possible I might be reading a little too far into it at times, but I do think that that is actually a specific choice that's been made inside of this game, and that it very much reflects something that all of us have to deal with in maybe a more mundane world, which is, of course, you might be considering a job offer, but it's not it doesn't strictly dominate your existing position. Maybe you're considering a job that you'll have to give up certain things, and one of those things can maybe be certainty, and are you willing to do that? And I mean, I don't think it's maybe a coincidence that a game developer will be making something like this, where, of course, following something that is very rewarding for you is, fraught with potentially financial ruin, and the world may not appreciate what you're doing, but it's something that's very special and very exciting. I mean, just think about how the Mantis looks when it opens up. Or again, you can pursue a certain degree of comfort. You can keep working at the bank, and you can, retire in reasonable comfort. So again, it's one of the reasons why I keep coming back to this game, right? It's one of these things that I think kind of rings true for people, really, no matter what your circumstances are. If you're in a fairly precarious position, I mean, let's face it, a lot of this game does deal with navigating, poverty, right? Being able to cover your necessities, and how devastating, something like an illness can become. There are various ways of making funds, and of course, in some cases, you can do some things that will improve your abilities. So as you kind of move up Glover and Glover, there are more and more demands on sort of your reason. And the challenge is that takes away from things you might otherwise be doing. And again, it's some of these things that are not always explicit, and so it creates some interesting challenges that I think I don't think are uncommon for most people. This is a puzzle with missing pieces. I might find those pieces in odd corners of scholarship. Alright, the sun still moves, the wind still walks. My journals are the labyrinth clues. So let's get rid of that last bit of dread before we start going back to the Mantis. We'll talk with Madame Bichet next. There's our restlessness. So, my recent work is considered significant. I may yet earn a living from this, but nothing is certain. So I'm going to do at least one more painting. This is definitely going to be a more reputation-based one, simply because it's what I can do. Well, actually, sorry, I should be careful on that, because I may not have my stale... Nope. Didn't get rid of my staleness. That's a pity. Alright. And we've got a Season of Visions coming up. So again, there's always a little bit of a danger when I put a bunch of passion into a painting. But let's go one more time. Good piece. This should have an impact. Count Jannings would like a substantial commission on Edge. Madame Bichet would like what? A courier has arrived from our delight with a single vial of their most holy blood. I received a little vial of our delight's blood via courier. Our delight's instructions are written herein, in the tiny tangles of cellular script. We can taste them as they will taste us. If we waste it, our delight will wax wroth. Which isn't always the worst thing in the world when you have a Season of Visions coming up. But we have other protections. Alright, Moth commission for Madame Bichet, and Dr. Adim will let his wishes be known momentarily. There it is. Is that it? You have resolved an intuition challenge. Okay, I think we can afford to pay for the paints. Next round, I expect that we're going to be going to Glover and Glover, so it's less of a threat to be putting money towards these sorts of things. All conviction, the world goes away. Blinking in the light. Now I understand. Finished. I've created something distinctive and beautiful. It will very likely enhance my reputation. Alright. So that was unlucky. I think that was straight out of the painting. But again, we've got fleeting reminiscence. The dread is gone, so that's not going to help us. But we have, as far as I'm concerned, we've definitely dealt with whatever challenges would be presented by that fascination. So unfortunately, I'm out of the erudition. That's going to put some dampers on my ability to improve the lore. Got rid of the staleness, which is good. Didn't really make that much money from it, so it's basically a net loss because we could have been using that work verb for something else. Okay, this is good to know about the talk verb. So let's plead to keep our job. This is not a pleasant conversation, but it may be a necessary one. And, more importantly, we need to get back to the Mantis. So we are going to take the Peacock Store. We are going to take the Watchman's Glass, mostly because that takes Silver Spintrea to move through. In my dreams, I know the path through the glass garden to the Peacock's Door, the most admirable of doors, the door which shines like a mirror. Perhaps with the right resources, I can pass it. The Peacock's Door reflects the mirror I hold in my sleep, and the mirror reflects the Peacock's Door. Already a sensuous shiver ripples its surface. It aches for fracture, and when it finds that satisfaction, I will enter. And let's start talking about the Vitulation. It will be a great celebration when our delight proves their appetite. I've increased my knowledge of the secret histories behind the ones that we know. Okay, so that was a Forbidden Epic. We now have 3 of those, so that's going to be the next one that I upgrade. It's worth remembering, so I need a erudition or an HQ with a library, or I need glimmerings or an HQ with a sanctuary. So the one bit of good news here is because I'm going to be upgrading this Forbidden Epic first, I can get away without having the erudition because I can use the library. I wouldn't be able to do that here because I need either Rarefied Mind, Library, or Fascination, and I don't really want to be using the Fascination where I can. So this isn't the most exciting upgrade that I can do, but this is the one that's available to me. History is less certain than we are taught. I can learn from the study of its blurred edges. I've been offered another chance. I am apparently expected to be grateful. Alright, the days are past when I could head home after lunch. My colleagues have begun to suspect what I am. They know nothing of what I could be. Okay, so we've got 80 seconds on a glimmering. We should be fine, although this study will definitely take a while. Into the night. Wisdom is a country, and these are its maps. So I'm going to be putting, as nice as it would be to have the unresolved ambiguity, I'm actually going to be putting a fairly high premium on going to the Red Church moving forward, even if that winds up meaning that I miss out on certain things. Actually, the one exception here would possibly be this one, because I know I'm not going to need it right now, but the Red Church is going to be getting me Grail influence. It's also potentially going to be getting me favor from authority, so if we run into problems with evidence, which of course we don't have now, but the drawback, of course, is I believe it can give me fascination, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, I think the Red Church is going to have the majority of things that I want, and the Worm Museum will occasionally have the lore that I need. So in this case, the relative value of the Worm Museum has gone down. The Red Church has gone up, as has the Peacock Door. In this case, again, we'll take the unresolved ambiguity just because it's nice to have. The extras. Last night I opened the Peacock Door, and beyond it, in the bright spaces of the house, I met a pilgrim adept. I'm almost ready, they said, to pass the summit of the house and prepare for the final ascent. Perhaps you'll join me. I'll need allies to fight for my place. Here's a story to help you rise. So this will be a use for the talk verb when the time comes, but for now let's just keep plowing into the peacock door. And I think we gotta wrap it up soon. Okay, Season of Vision's coming up, not too worried about it here. There we go. We cannot know the final date until we know the time of the Grail's greatest influence, but we must begin to select those who will comprise the host. So there's the Vitulation recipe. We've got the first fragments of the host. We've attracted a few gourmands and perverts. They will expect a feast of the senses. So we seek more attendees, our allies, greed, curiosity, pure prurience, unalloyed idleness. You know what? Let's before we do that, let's have a chat with Valcine to repair the mirror. So invitations, we're getting prepared for the Vitulation, which again I think is not a bad place to end on. Well, you know what? Let's finish our round at Glover and Glover, and then we'll call it. Okay, so no erudition to help me out. That's fine because we had the library. I review tidy columns of figures in a tidy fifth floor room. From my office window, I can see the river. My secretary brings me a hot drink every 59 minutes. The river is the color of rain. So again, 4 funds per visit is nothing to sneeze at. But here, we're going to use our leisure time to prepare some works. And on that note, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. So thank you very much for watching. As always, these videos will be coming live at 6:30 on Wednesday evenings and Friday evenings, Eastern Time. I do occasionally mess up and do AM instead of PM, but it should be 6:30 in the evening. If you have not already done so and you're enjoying the series, please consider subscribing. It definitely helps me out, as do the likes and the comments. And one thing I wanted to say in particular, it is one very fun fact. Some of you have been watching from the very beginning and, you know, giving the congratulations for 1,000 subscriptions and all of that. But what's also been interesting is that the series is old enough now that there are some new, for lack of a better term, fans. It feels a little weird to say that for myself, but I've noticed a few people are just discovering this series, and there's almost, you can sort of see the progress as they go through it, because every once in a while I'll see a comment, and what does give me a little, I don't know, amusement or satisfaction is to know that I could very well be talking about you, and because there have been a particular set of comments that that provoked that thought. And I know that obviously as I refer to it, it's, you know, a few weeks or months down the road, they'll be hearing it. So as always, it's not just about the numbers, although I tremendously appreciate that, because again, it has been something that's grown the YouTube channel. But it's actually really cool to interact with quite a few of you. One of the things that's very pleasant about Cultist Simulator is it does seem to attract a really friendly audience. So don't want to spend too much of your time on that, but as always, thank you very much for watching, whether you do so in silence or whether you're one of those people who's been really pushing the series to their friends or has been boosting it through likes and comments. Thank you, and I will see you on Friday. Have a good one.